Welcome back, everybody, to the OPT Network. Our guest this morning is Monte Wilson. He's the CEO and President of Christus Cabrini Hospital. And we're talking about not only healthcare, but the mission of the hospital, which is extending the healing ministry of Jesus Christ. He joins us to talk about what they're doing to be agents of change in our community. Monte, good morning and welcome.
Well, good morning, Carla. Glad to be here.
I'm glad to see you. You have been through a rough almost couple of years at the hospital, but you survived. COVID hit, and it was just nonstop.
Continuous ways for us to be able to help the community, but yes, it has been a nonstop. Mm-hmm. But that's what we're there for.
Absolutely. And so after you sort of got COVID under control, your team sort of went to the think tank and said, how can we be a blessing to the community? How can we further extend the mission of what the sisters had envisioned when they created it? And what were the thoughts behind that?
So I think, Carla, when you start to look at, and you see a lot of it in the media now, where it talks about this disparities of care, and there's a lot into that. It's not just coming to the hospital and coming to, being able to have access to a physician. There's a lot of other things that's going on, being able to provide for your family food, work, clothes, medicine, the things that everyone needs every day, and just simple transportation, is great that, you have an appointment, but can you get to the doctor if you don't have the resources to get you there or means to be able to do that? So we kind of look at it from a totality point of view, and can we look at ways that we can help the individual as a whole, so it's the whole person, when you talk about healing and healing ministry of Jesus Christ, it just wasn't one segment of that person's life. It's the totality of the person's life. So how can we help? And so we seek ways to be able to do that.
And so in this time of inflation, everything has gone up. Gas prices and grocery prices. And so we sort of came together, the umbrella of On Point Media and what our nonprofit does, and we connected with Christus to really give back to the community in the ways of gas and gas prices. Talk about, what came to mind when we started talking about how can we reach out and help people through gas cards with our partners, Why Not Stop and Global Trucking Academy.
Yes, I think in everything we do, we look to partner. We don't try to go at things alone. And so like yourself, coming to you because we know you have a great community outreach and you reach the community. So how could we help in the sense to say gas cards? Everyone is really having a very challenging time to be able to just to put $5 or $10 worth of gas in their car to get to point A to point B or even get to work. And so we thought, this could be one way that we could partner and say, hey, you have the outreach, we can fund it and see if we can be able to make a difference in some people's lives in a small way. I know it's just a small way, but it'll help some. But, we're going to do whatever we can, be it how small it may be or how great it may be.
Absolutely. And we just want to thank Christus. We want to thank Monte and Julie Henry and the team at Christus for backing the $100 gas gift cards. And it's a way that all of us, Why Not Stop, and San Romain Oil, Global Trucking Academy, and we also want to thank Dr. Keith A. Fox, because people started really jumping on board and saying, hey, how can I give? And like you said, some could give a little, some could give more, but it was just a collective effort. And what I love about the spirit of Christus was, when we approached this idea, there was an immediate yes, how can we help? And I think that that's the dynamic that a lot of people don't see. We just see the hospital,
right?
But we don't necessarily look at the way that the mission, and the sisters had said many, many years ago that they were called to help and seeking the help at your hands. People seeking help because people came to Jesus for help. And the institution, the ministry has been here to really help, not just heal the people, but help the people that were in need.
Absolutely. We see a lot of opportunities where people talk about what they're going to do, but we all know, and it's an action word, to heal and to be able to get out there and help people. Well, to do that, you got to have the action and the ability to do that. And so we have that ability to take the action. So it's just a gift card. Tomorrow would be something different, but it's a gift card and it can help and it's helping people. I would almost be, I couldn't imagine someone that got the gift card, and I've heard some of the stories you've been telling me about, that made a difference for them. So if that made a difference, if it's just one person, I can't, as I say, I can't boil the ocean, but I can at least do my part.
You can drop a little bit in there.
That is exactly.
And, a lot of people said, this is 2 Phillips for me. For some people, it's 1 Phillip, but it's just a way that Christus St. Francis Cabrini Hospital and the other partner businesses have come together to say, you know what, we care about you. And we know that every family, no matter what their socioeconomic status is feeling the pain.
Absolutely. Everyone.
In one way or another.
In one way or another. And you mentioned something about the other businesses that are there here in the surrounding areas. We hope that this will continue to ignite and that you'll get many, many more participants to want to be able to help to give out more cards.
Absolutely, because, when you look at Scripture, it calls us to be a blessing. Those of us who are blessed should be a blessing to others. And one lady who won a gift card, she talked about taking her son on college tours and needing that money. And boy, when we saw her vehicle, she had a big truck, to fill. And we know that, people who are driving not only to and from work, but that are driving around the state, that it can become costly.
There is a need.
There is a need.
And we're just trying to fulfill that need.
And so we just want to take this opportunity to say thank you and thank all of our partners who have been agents of change in helping the community. And this give back is absolutely huge. And here's how you can win. You can listen live daily on radio at KAYT FM 88.1, or you can go to our social media platforms, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. We're going to take a break here, but when we come back, I want to talk about some of the other things that the hospital is doing that is really working to make your visits more beautiful, more pleasant, and some of the things that they have coming up next. Stay on point. We're back right after this. Welcome back, everybody, to the OPT Network. Our guest, once again, none other than Monte Wilson. He's the CEO and President of Christus St. Francis Cabrini Hospital. And we're talking about how they are working in the community and in Central Louisiana to extend the healing ministry of Jesus Christ for the care that you need right now. And Monte, you guys are really working hard to extend and stretch the services for this community.
Yes, we're constantly focusing on how can we reach those most in need, number one, as well as the entire community. But, as we, earlier we talked about disparities in healthcare. And so when you look at that, it's so broad that you really need to kind of break it down and really focus on key things that can really make a difference. And so, we're in the planning process of what can we do, from women's health to men's health to children's health, all the things that we can do to really make a difference, where you can be seen. And some things going to be immediate, and then there's going to be some things that's going to take, years before you see the results. But the idea is that we're going to be very on point to figure out where we need to go and partner with whoever we need to ensure that we do accomplish the goal that we set out to achieve.
Talk about how big partnerships are for you.
So I'll just give you an example on the diabetes program. There's a lot that goes into that. Yes, you need the insulin. So is there a partnership with some of the pharmaceutical companies to be able to provide some of those? They cannot afford to get the insulin. There's opportunities there. We just have to explore it. Then there's just a simple, how do I prepare my food? And so, we've been talking with the food bank. I know they're looking at the process of building a new kitchen to be able to train people how to cook and prepare their food. Well, there's another opportunity for us to partner. So if you take that diabetes population, then we can really help them be able to reach out to those who would be coming there So it's not reinventing the wheel, me going and building a kitchen and things of
Right.
that sort. We just look to partner with them to make that segment grow. You know, you could go into education if we want to get students to get more into healthcare and not fall into those pathways that are destructive. Then we can start doing things, as I've been working with Jeff Powell, the superintendent of the schools, to be able to create programs and things of that sort where we can go in and really start to really look at getting those students engaged to be able to perhaps get into healthcare, because I don't think that in some cases that they see the vision and the opportunity of where they can be, but we can do that. And we have team members that are really anxious to get out there and do those things. So those are some of the things that, you know, that we can do, that I think that partnering with others, you know, just like with you, being able to get the message out when we get ready to do something, that we can say, hey, this is what we're trying to do, and penetrate some of those, I guess, fallacies that, oh, it won't happen to me, or I need to put it off, you know, and wait, and get some of the facts out there and try to make a difference. And I think we can. I really believe we can.
Sure. And I think with you all bringing in a new endocrinologist is going to be
Absolutely
big as well.
I believe right now, if I understand, especially in central Louisiana, it's like at the top. When you take cardiovascular disease and cancer, you know, which one's first? But diabetes in this particular area is like number one. Limb salvage, you know, how do we do that? How do we recruit a physician here in town that we're in discussion with to be able to prevent people from having their limbs removed because of diabetes? All those things that create major difficulties in people's lives, that we just have to focus on those. So we build a service line around that, you know, get an endocrinologist, which we've been searching for years now. And we finally have one that's coming in September. And we have a, you know, certified our nursing team, that education department. So if you take endocrinologists, podiatry services to limb salvage, and you take the working with the community on how to eat better and prepare your foods, we can make a difference.
Right.
So just that focus point will make a difference in
And
the
having
community.
that specialty and that specialist right here in central Louisiana is going to prevent people from having to travel out to other areas.
Yes, that is correct. Right now, I believe you would have to go to either New Orleans or Baton Rouge to be able to see an endocrinologist.
Wow. And so one of the other things that you're doing, and before we leave that, I just want to talk about now diabetes being a childhood illness and disease that we never saw in my lifetime. You know, kids being plagued with diabetes.
Correct. And so many do not know, but we have over 17 health clinics that we have in schools, some in rural areas. So there's a tremendous amount of opportunity for us to be able to start to look to see how can we recognize or help parents recognize their child may be either have diabetes and what do you need to do, or in the process of habits that needs to change before they become a diabetic.
Right.
But that part right there is most crucial for us, is getting it at that level.
And let me tell you something. I have a story about that. My little niece, 9 years old, you know, feeling tired, you know, feeling dehydrated. Her parents, you know, they're on vacation. They're wondering like what's going on. They take her to the doctor, and her sugar, her numbers are through the roof. 400. This baby is just no idea that she's a diabetic. It's happening younger and younger. And I think families are going to have to come together and say, could this be an issue? Is this something that we have to look at? And to your point, those 17 school-based health centers are so critical in helping parents. And that's another way that Christus is giving back to the communities, because that's really, really huge for families, especially in rural areas.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, Christus Health, the purpose, our sole purpose, is we're here for the community. The community is what makes us thrive. Our hospital is the community's hospital. Every aspect of healthcare is the community. And so we have to be good stewards to make sure that we are making sure those resources are available to the community. And there's many different ways to go about doing that. We just want to make sure that we do it in a way that's the most effective way and not waste resources. But it takes partnerships, from all different angles to be able to make sure that we're able to get those resources where it needs to be.
Sure. Before we've got to let you go, I know that you guys are doing something with infusion, and there is a new pharmacy that you were, I guess, refurbishing.
Yes, one of the things that we have done, I think, we've already seen some of the impact, is typically what happens is a patient is in the hospital and they're discharged, and they say, okay, you need to go get your meds filled, right? And many of the patients that come live in rural areas. So they don't go immediately to their pharmacy and get their meds. Well, we created what we call a meds to beds program, to where we're able to get their medications to them before they leave. So we can at least ensure that they get their meds, they get at least their first dose or second dose. It's not to change the pharmacies that they go to permanently. It's just to make sure that they get the meds immediately, because we've had several situations where people have come back to the hospital because they didn't get their meds. And, when they left the hospital, either the pharmacy was closed or whatever it may be. But that's one of the things. So we've opened up our new pharmacy, which will be able to help get those meds, what we call meds to beds. It'll help our employees be able to have quicker access to the medications they have. And plus, in our physician offices and things of that sort, it'll be able to give them the opportunity to get a lot quicker access to meds in a more timely manner. And so people,
when they're getting discharged, they can take those meds home.
That's right.
And so they're off and going. What about the infusion?
So the infusion, in some cases, and this is how rapidly changing medicine is, it used to be that if you had to have a blood transfusion, typically they put you in the hospital and you have to stay overnight. Well, now you don't have to do that. We can do antibiotic infusions and things of that sort on an outpatient basis.
Iron infusions.
Yeah, iron infusion, exactly right.
My mom's having it.
That's right.
She's having that.
And so that's available, and it's on an outpatient basis, and so you can easily have access to that. So that was those two areas will have a tremendous impact just on the availability and the accessibility for healthcare.
Absolutely. Monte, we know just how busy you are and how many things are happening in the hospital and how many things that need your attention and how many people need your attention. So we want to thank you for sitting with us and kind of giving us and our listeners and viewers an insight and update on what you're doing and how you're moving about being agents of change. And we want to thank you for partnering with On Point Broadcasting, On Point Media, to be agents of change and helping people with gas in these very perilous times. Thank you guys so much.
Well, thank you, Carlette, for letting us be a part of you in what you do every day, because it is a partnership and you do a lot of great things for the community, and we just want to walk side by side with you to be able to make sure that we have the impact together.
It is a great blessing for us. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Christus St. Francis Cabrini Hospital is extending the healing ministry of Jesus Christ for the care you need now. You can be assured that a cross on the outside absolutely means a difference on the inside. Stay on point. We're back right after this.